Goal setting is so important in life and in sales. So let's talk about the sales part, because that's what I'm here for you guys today. A lot of people decide they want to be really successful, and they say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make this money, I'm going to be like that. And it's not specific and tangible enough. So we're going to talk today about how to, in this session, about how to make a goal fit you and how you can own the goal and turn it into a plan. Especially when you have a new center, you're in sales, and you don't get a lot of goal setting back at the center. You have to do it yourself. So let's go on that. All right. This is in every slide. You want me to wear my mic? Are we good? It's pretty noisy out there. Do you want the mic or not? No? Okay.
Give me 5 seconds. Always at the start of this, he does a little discussion. But they'll quiet down in a second.
Okay. All right. 2 ways to grow your business. More business from existing customers and new customers. And I said this in the last session. I'm just going to say it anyway. We need to be doing this concurrently at the same time, all the time. Focusing on where do I find new clients and how do I grow the clients I have. And I'll explain more about this as we go, but we need to be doing this at the same time, all the time. Did you find, this is goal setting, darling? How was your interview? Did you say nice things?
Yeah, that's
Right on. Okay. So let's talk about the difference between a vision and a goal. A vision is an idea, a concept. A goal is more specific and tangible and brings it down to a piece of paper where you could actually make a plan out of it. So these on the left are visions and on the right are goals. So what you want to be able to do is really get specific. So when you say to yourself, I'm going to grow my business 10%, I'm going to sell more, I'm going to make more money, it is a vision. I'm going to be taller, which would be a miracle, I guess. I want to take a vacation. I want more free time. I want to be more successful. Those are visions, except for the miracle one. So what we want to do is make it really specific and make it a goal, which makes it a timeline to it and a specific number, timeline, a number of accounts, revenue. That's what you want when you have a goal. So you can see the difference here. Live by the ocean, which is great. Where, when. And the one on the right tells you where and when. Look at the last one. I want to be financially independent. Okay, how does that look? How do I pay my bills off? How do I get more money in the savings account? How do I save enough money to hire another sales rep? So those, I want to grow my business could mean a sales rep, 10 new customers, and raise my prices 3%. So there's lots of ways you can build the goal, but you have to know what you want first. The good thing about school, when we go to high school or college, they give us, the goal is to take a certain amount of classes, and they give us the plan. And they tell you, if you take these classes and do these things, you'll graduate. So we have some choices in there, but most of it is us deciding to follow the plan. My stepdaughter just started college, and they gave her a curriculum with choices in it. But it's a certain amount of units and a certain amount of electives. So that's a really good way to look at a plan you need to reach your goal. And when we're in school, we don't have to develop it ourselves. They kind of help us a lot. And this is more about us developing our own, consistently staying with it, and then helping people around us follow it as well. So let's go to, do you guys have an extra piece of paper in there? Or like a worksheet on the back maybe? No? Oh, that's it. Go to that piece of paper right there. Can I have this? What's your name? Maria. This one. Can you guys go to this one? The one before the evaluation. We'll get to the evaluation later. There's a contest. Not really. Okay. So think about this, though. So a goal is a destination, a place you want to arrive. A plan is a roadmap of how to get to the destination. And a timeline is a calculation of how long you need to have for the goal. So think about this let's say that your Aunt Susie's having a party. And it's a surprise party for Uncle Billy. And you want to get there early. So the goal is to get to the party at 7. So you're on time at the party for Uncle Billy. So the roadmap, the plan would be the roadmap. And the timeline would be the calculation of, depending on where you live, how much traffic there is, how early you have to leave. The goal is to get to the party early, on time, not come in, socially late. Come in, get there on time. The roadmap becomes the plan. This is the freeways I'm going to take. And the timeline, as in Los Angeles, you allow 2 hours to get anywhere on a Saturday night because the traffic's so bad. So the timeline's 2 hours. The roadmap is the really bad freeways in LA, maybe carpool if I drag my husband along, and I'm going to get there on time. So that's the same thing we want to do with our business. What's my goal? What's my plan look like? And how much time do I allow for it? We often mix up and fail because our timeline is too short and too aggressive, and we fail and then we get discouraged, so we quit. So the timeline can't be too short. And if you have people in your life, like my mother, who are late all the time, which is a whole nother conversation because it's really all about her. So it's not that she doesn't have a timeline, it's her timeline, nobody else's, so she's always late. So if you find yourself late all the time, you are not managing your timeline well. And if you find yourself with goals that you don't accomplish, either the goal's too lofty, or you're a goofball, or you have the wrong timeline. I mean, we've met these people that are in college 8 years. I mean, come on, that's about decisions. And yeah, the classes are harder to take. My stepdaughter's like, I'm going to be in school. I was like, no, you're not. 2 years. You're starting as a junior, 2 years. Because if that's what's going to be, because she can pay for whatever she wants. But what we have to figure out as business people is, how do I stick to my goal and stick with it so that I accomplish it and not quit with the timeline and the plan I've created. Okay, so you have that little handout there. And if she's like, I got the handout, now what? All right. So I want you to sit there as I look at you all and put down a business goal on that worksheet, please, and or a personal goal. And only raise your hand if you want to be called on when I ask. So if you want if you want to put, Brendan, if you want to put a goal down, a business goal, anything you want, we're just going to brainstorm on how to do it. I'm going to walk you through my plan. And if it's going to take you 10 minutes to do this, then you don't have plans. You should have a bunch of things you're working on at the same time, all the time. Right now. Come on. Okay. All right, anybody want to go? Are you guys down? How are you doing over here? Where are you guys from? Louisiana. Oh, so you're not like friends? Now you are, but... Oh, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. All right, anybody ready? Got a goal yet? Yes, ma'am. Arlene?
I'd like to be a bronze next year.
Okay.
I don't know if that's possible in a year's time.
So you have to, and then you have to be willing to share the revenue you have now, and so I can...
Just start it.
Okay, so bronze is how much revenue?
300,000 to 500,000. It's $499.
And anything $499 and above, or $499? It's not 3 to 5, it's $499? I'm confused. Okay, it's $499. And you want to accomplish that in the calendar year 2016? How long have you been there? A month. So you're the baby.
Yeah.
Do you have any customers yet?
I have a couple, but it's not like anybody else that has.
Where's your center located?
In Uniontown, PA.
Okay. So what kind of clients? Are there other salespeople there?
No.
So you're the first one?
I'm not the first one because the other three never worked. They started and quit in a month.
Okay. And the owner's a selling owner?
Yes.
Do you know how much revenue you do now as a center?
I know what she did last month. I know she hit one of her own personal goals.
Okay.
She hit 75,000.
Oh, right, which is great. Okay, so what you do, and here's what, I don't have an answer for you, but let me tell you how you break it down. What do you think, and this is where you may not have enough information, but this is a good example, because we sometimes set goals and we don't have all the information, so you have to go get it, which is good. So you want to do, let's say 400,000, or does it have to be 499 to be bronze?
I think it's 499.
It's 3 to 499. Between 300 and
Okay, so I can say 400 because it's easy math for me, right?
Okay.
Right on, there we go. Yeah, let's make it easy for me. Okay, so 400,000, you have to then tell me what you think the average customer you have at that center is, revenue-wise. Is it 5,000 a year, 10,000? See, you have to, so this is the homework for you. So one of the questions you're going to ask your owner is what's the right customer volume, dollar volume, that fits for our location with, our demographics, vertical markets. So she's going to say our average customer buys $6,200 a year. Or she might have a couple $100,000 clients, and she might have a bunch of little, not very big clients. So let's say, Arlene, that the average client there was $10,000 a year. So that means she has 40 clients that buy $10,000 a year from the center. Okay? She's developed that on her own. So what you have to say to yourself then, if that's kind of the average, can you do 400,000? Can you come up with 40 clients at $10,000 a month? And I think that's a lot. Because you're learning the market, you're learning the business, and you're building credibility, and they're going to say, how long have you been there? And you're going to say, 3 days. And they're going to say, what do you produce? And you're going to say, I know most of it, but not everything, because you're learning, which is perfect. So I think it would be good to say, I'm going to find a couple new clients a month that can buy from me regularly. See, the other thing you have to think about when you're doing this kind of exercise, is it a client that's going to give you one big project because they have a big trade show? And they're going to give you work once a year? Or are we going to find someone like a hospital, or what Chris has, as he's on his phone, Chris has his industrial clients who build buildings more than once a year, so they would have more than one project. See, so part of it is the kind of customers you want to call on. So I used to do a lot of work in the annual report world, which was once a year. So you maintain relationships with clients, but you have one shot. Another vertical I was in, does everybody know what vertical means? It means the industry you're focusing on, healthcare, education. I did a lot of automotive printing, and they'd buy the big portion of it in the summer, but they'd buy work all year long. So they'd buy a dealer kit, they'd buy a brochure, they'd buy a poster, they'd buy work all year. So it wasn't a one-time client. So what you've got to figure out is, with the client mix you want to call on, and you don't know yet maybe, a hospital would buy year-round schools. I love schools because athletics buys at a different time than admissions, and buys at a different time than the bookstore and the alumni. So they have different buying cycles. So you could have revenue all year long. So then you have to decide, could I find 40 clients in the first year that would buy $10,000 from me? And I think that's a big goal. So if you really kicked it, I think you could get a couple new clients a month, and then as you build your business, you say to yourself, I've got a couple, I've got 8 clients now. 2 of them are really good. 2 of them, nah. 3 of them, and I'm going to weed some out because they don't pay on time. They buy $500 once a year, and you got an order, and you're like, oh, great. But ultimately, that's not a big enough customer, because you can't have 500 customers, because you can't get to it all. So what you've got to figure out is, what's my customer, my perfect customer, my ideal customer, and then you build it around that. So it's not a bad goal, but I think it would be year 2. And if you did that in year 2 and worked for me, I'd be thrilled, because it's revenue I don't have. It's a lot of new customers. So I think you should decide next year to do half of it, and the next year do double, because then you've got your feet, you've got your feet wet. You're in the marketplace. You're not brand new, even though Fast Signs has a great reputation. Customers are still buying from you, and they want to know that you know what you're doing, that you can navigate, that you can get the work out, and that you can take care of them. And you got to start small and build it. And then your confidence builds, and you say, okay, I got 3 good ones over here. I'm going to go get 4 more. So it's a process as you build your business, whether you're new or not so new. It takes time to get credibility for people to give you a chance. And most of the time, they have their needs met. So just because you're calling on them, and they're like, yeah, Arlene, I got Chris who's been calling on me for 2 years at your competitor, but I'll give you a chance, but so far I'm good. So you got to earn your way in. And that doesn't happen on the first call. So I think that that's a great goal, and if you have here's an exception, if you have a lot of printing experience, the solution print environment, if you have a lot of sales experience and you're bringing customers with you, I'd have a different answer for you. So I'm assuming you don't have all that, but you might.
I have some customers.
Oh, so that changes everything, because the customers you have, you can sell more to. So then, okay, so now as I drill down on her, which is super fun, how many customers did you bring over?
I haven't brought any yet, because I was coming here for training.
Okay.
I haven't even, really started. I've been training.
How much do you think you can bring over?
I don't know. I gotta see what wet and see what.
Yeah.
I've been kind of holding back because I just started.
Right. And
I'm listening to everyone else, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I have this one and that one, and
yeah.
My head's spinning.
And that's great, because if you have existing customers, even if they're in a related, they're buying related kind of marketing materials, you can just kick some, because they know you, they trust you already, so it shortens that gap I talked about of getting your feet wet. So then I'm kind of changing my mind after like an hour that's not a, yeah, they're like, eek, roll it back. So I think it's doable because you already have some relationships. And that's the key. And salespeople say I can bring all my clients, which is not true, because clients sometimes stay where they are, and you have to figure out why they should move with you, and then you have to go find some new clients. So you've got to have a compelling why they shouldn't stay with Chris where they are. Why should they come with you? So you have to be able to have that value proposition. And Fast Signs is great, but that doesn't mean they need you. So you have to build all that. Why should they give you a chance? So that takes time. Okay, so anybody else have a goal? Yes. Go ahead.
I'd like to add like 2 more of those large construction companies like I'm working with right now.
In what time frame?
In the next year.
Okay, large, define it by dollars.
As far as purchasing for me?
Yes.
100,000 a year.
Okay, so here's the goal as I would like it to be said. I'm going to find 2 more industrial builders that can buy 100,000 from me, and I'm going to develop it and build it in 2016. So it has a goal and a date, timeline. So that gives him a couple of months to do research, and it gives him, because I don't care if you were working for me, if you had the 100,000, you won't get it to start, but if at the end of the year you're on track for that, it'd be huge because you're going to get it. So maybe it's really 50,000 next year, but they can buy 100 and you'll build it the second year. So a lot of it's about traction and building the right goal and then building it out the next year too. So it's a 2-year goal, which would be perfect. And then what you have to say, do you have a prospect list? Who are you going to call on?
Yeah, I've got a list of companies in mind that I can call on.
Yeah. And when do you want to start?
Right away.
Okay, have you already started working on this?
No.
See, because I always take all the credit, so you have to write a note back and say, Leslie, it's because of Leslie's session at 12:35 that I did this.
Our store doesn't pay commission, though, just so you know. So.
Oh. Well, that's... Really? Are any of you on commission? You're not on commission? I got to get with your owner. What's up with that?
I'm practically an owner. So.
No, you're not either an owner or you're not. It's like kind of practically pregnant. You either are or you aren't. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The girls are like, yeah. So how are you incentivized? Just because you like to make a difference?
I'm planning on taking over the business. We're on like a 5-year plan.
Oh, so you are sort of an owner then. Okay, fine. All right, I'll take it back.
See what I'm saying?
I'm going to get pregnant for you. Okay. Well, that's good then because you're building it for yourself. Well, I said this in the other session this morning. We are really all business owners. It just depends on how you look at it. I manage my own business, and so do you. Whether you work for somebody or not, it's your you-know-what on the line, and we're the ones that have to make it happen. If somebody else benefits from it, great. But, I want to be my own president, CEO, cheerleader, because it's my business, and you have to do the same. You can't rely on everybody else. Okay, so that's a really good goal. So he's got a timeline, an amount of money, and revenue, and the kind of customers he wants. Vertical he's in, he knows it, he knows the language. Okay, what do you have over here?
I have opened 10 new accounts before the end of the year.
And what kind of accounts are you calling on? What verticals are you on? Health. Yeah. So go ahead. Sorry.
My goals are to be more like hospitals and schooling and schools and that area. In the cities, we do a lot of work in the cities, but we don't do much business.
Yeah.
I want something that's much more steady on a monthly basis. I opened some very large accounts lately, and they're a one-time shot this year.
Yeah.
They'll be gone next year unless they buy more businesses.
Right.
So my goal is to find something that brings in 5,000. 10 accounts is going to bring in 2,500 to 5,000 a month on a regular basis. That's my goal.
See, and as you get more entrenched in the business, in any business, you figure out who's a good client for me, and how do I leverage my brain, my energy, my time, my equipment, my people, all that stuff. And what he's saying, he's very specific about ongoing revenue, monthly, with a certain amount of money, revenue, which is good, and he wants it to not be a one-off. And he's got some specific verticals he's working in. So he knows the market, He knows what his goal is, and he's got a timeline for it. Would you say next year or this year? The end of this year? So you think because August is gone, so you think in September.
I've already done some
Oh, so you're cheating on the goal? Is that what's happening? Pretty much, yeah.
But I haven't got the business yet, so
Right.
it's still a goal to get their business.
Right.
I've already made them, I've talked to them several times, and we're getting close. But,
Right.
I mean, when I get the final first order, then
Yeah.
yes, I can cross one of the goal.
Well, and then what you've also got to decide, and we were talking about this, and the other one is, if a client, if you had one of these people, have you pre-qualified them all in that they fit the model you want for a prospect?
Yes.
Okay. So sometimes you call on people and you think they buy a lot and they don't. Or you find out they have a marketing company and they're never going to buy direct, so you've got to reconnoiter and go over here. So sometimes when you're in the prospecting game, you are trying to figure out, is this the right prospect for me? Do they fit the criteria I've established for myself? Because you have to know what you want out of the prospect. And it's hard to know when you start because you don't know. So sometimes you can evolve an account and get more revenue because you call on another department. And sometimes you're calling on somebody and they don't buy anything and you're wasting time and you're wrong. You thought they did and they don't. So you think about, a dry cleaner. Have you guys ever gotten any direct mail from a dry cleaner in your neighborhood? I haven't. Now, it seems like that would be a good loyalty campaign because you're buying, you don't go to dry cleaner very far away because they're all the same. But I've never seen an effective dry cleaning one-to-one marketing campaign. I got restaurant stuff. They try to get you into the restaurant. So think about when you're picking your customers and your prospects, who fits what I do in the market where I am at? And what does that look like? What kind of customers do I want? Because when you're starting, you can pick anything you want. I had agencies. I had a lot of universities. I had manufacturing. I had automotive, I had a lot of agencies. I said that already. But there are some industries, as you build your business, that are very much tied to low price and bidding. And you can have a great relationship and they can't buy from you because they have to buy low bid. And you don't know that till you get in, and the gal is really a snot and says, I really like you, but it's low bid and you weren't, and you're off by $20 and you didn't get the work. And then you've got to decide, is this the right prospect for me? How do I get around those limitations? Because you don't know when you're doing it. So the key is have a goal, but throw a lot of stuff at the wall, and you'll figure it out as you go what makes sense for you as an independent, salesperson in a company that that you own or almost own. What did he say? Sort of own? Sort of. Yeah, kind of pregnant. That's pretty funny. So those are good examples, though, of having a goal, and just you want to drill down one more step. I want this much revenue in a certain amount of time that's going to yield me this much. Okay? All right. So, but a lot of people never do this, and you could do it for a vacation, you could do it for a retirement fund, you can do it for your kids' college, you can do it for your business plan, your sales plan. This is just a way to break it down into tangible steps that our brain can own. Our brain doesn't really get around be more successful because it's too vague. The taller one, you can just wear heels. Are you tapping that pen over there, Matthew? Am I going to have to come and get that pen? It's him? Oh, you're lying. He doesn't even have a pen. Oh, and he lies and he taps. Lying tapper. Are you awake still? This is hard. So I have to tell you, I did a conference for, where was I? What city was it in? Oh my gosh. Boyne, Michigan. And they put me on at the end of the conference before the golf tournament. I said, that is so mean. Everybody's got their golf gear. They're all looking at their watch. They got their little tees and all their stuff out. And they're like, are you done? Are you done? I'm like, okay, I'm done. Just get out. It was mean. That's mean, huh? Don't you think? And they all got their little shorts on and their golf gear and stuff. And it's like beautiful outside. And there's deer walking around. And they're stuck in a room talking to me. Not sucked, stuck. You edit that too. Wonder how much editing they do. I haven't cussed, though. I'm doing pretty good. No cussing. Okay. So the goals help our brain attach to it. And that's why I'm asking you to be really thoughtful about what's my goal, what's my plan, because your brain will more easily help you do it. Okay? All right. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Oh, here we go. Reaching a goal, a little incremental goal, helps us move to the next place. So when you make a goal about 10 new customers, Mike, right? and Mike writes down 10 prospects, that's part of the goal. The next step in the goal is calling all 10. The next step is visiting 10, emailing 10, calling 10, and getting appointments. So that is all part of the goal, and those little incremental goals help you move the ball down the field. That's why you want to break it down into little baby steps so you can do them, own it, feel really good about it, and then move to the next one. Okay? So let's talk about successful salespeople. There's a whole bunch of things you can read. This is just one of the things I like. Strong goal clarity. What do I want to do? What do I want to achieve? High achievement drive. And, you can have all these great ideas, but you have to do it. I had a client I was coaching once. I do a lot of sales coaching. And one week I'd come and he had a really good list and a desk. And the next week, 2 weeks later, he had made a call. I said, Jim, you got to pick up the phone. So it's like being at the gym, standing by the treadmill. You got the little outfit on, you got the water bottle and the iPod, but you got to get on the treadmill. So he wasn't on the treadmill, he's just looking at it. So I said, you aren't going to make it if you don't pick up the phone. And I will tell you, here's a free, well, it's not really free, is it, I guess. Here's a tidbit for you. One of the biggest mistakes salespeople make is they don't prospect enough. And experienced salespeople stop prospecting, and then they fail. So I'm telling you, the key to your future, girlfriend Arlene, is prospecting. Networking, referrals, cold calls, drive-bys, emails, letters. You have a fabulous library of case studies. Prospecting is the key to your success. Learn the technology, learn the market, learn the business, do some substrates, print the thing, practice. It's prospecting that will take you from a failure to mediocre, from mediocre to superstar. It's prospecting and looking for opportunities that will buy your thing. I meet a lot of people, we're architects, we're really special. We're accountants. It doesn't matter. How do I find somebody to buy my thing? Buy me, buy my shtick, my attitude, my product, my banner. I don't care what you're selling. How do you get them to buy from you? That's what we're doing. And the key for you is prospecting. Okay, thank you for that. Healthy emotional intelligence. That means, can you read a person? Can you filter? Can you ask the right questions? Can you read somebody's body language? Are you perceptive? And sometimes this is learned, sometimes nobody gets it, and I've met people who are really good at it from the get-go. But you have got to fit into a lot of different situations as a sales rep. And we're in charge of morphing a little bit to fit into the situation versus the other around. I did a big thing at a big accounting firm, a big sales training thing, and these people in their offices, you could hear a gnat. And they don't talk, they're really quiet because they're accountants. And I thought, a couple times they closed the door because I was I grew up in a manufacturing environment. And they're like, you're really quiet. I'm like, what? So I really had to talk down and shut up because they're thinking and they're working. I would die if I worked there. But 4 or 5 hours a week, I'd go there and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'd get in the car and just talk. But we have to morph in. So you go into a client and it's really quiet. You got to be quieter. And if you go into something that's really more fun and robust, you can snap it up a little bit. We have to be able to emotionally differentiate those different environments so we fit in. Because if you don't fit in, they won't like you, and they won't. Man, Leslie's really disruptive, and every time she comes in here, it's really distracting. They won't work with you because they don't have to. How many competitors do you have? There are 34,000 printing companies in the country. You have a lot, and they're down the street and around the corner from wherever your center is. Unless you're in, maybe at Anchorage. Do you guys have some Anchorage people? Probably. So I did a sales coaching thing up there too. And it's only light from like 11 to 3. So, of course, I've got like a little suit and high heels on. Let's go to dinner. They walk. I'm like, pardon? We're going to walk to dinner. So they have like sensible shoes on, these people that work there. And I'm like, oh, crap, what am I going to do? So they drove me. It wasn't good. They were like, we're going to walk to dinner in the snow. I'm like, no. I'm from LA. We drive places, people. Okay. Excellent social skills. And I don't mean you have to be the life of the party, like I might be, but you have to be able to relate to many different kinds of personalities. Because you're going to have a quiet person, a fun person, a bossy, controlling client who wants to run the show and doesn't let you talk. You're going to have a really nice, soft client that wants to be led, that wants help, that really wants to be told what to do. We have to be able to have all those social skills. And you have to figure out, assess where you are, what you need to do, and then do it. And not everybody's good at it. I've met people, and I can't believe they're in sales because they're so bad at relating to other people. So you need to modulate yourself and figure it out. But this is important if you're going to be a really superstar, because you have to be able to understand your environment and fit in. Okay? All right. So we have goal clarity, have specific goals, measurable, specific goals and objectives. Measurable. That is not, I want to make more money. It's what you said, Mike. I'm going to have 10 new accounts that buy this much. What you said, Chris, $100,000 times 2. High achievement drive is, I think sometimes you can develop it. I think a lot of it's in there. And you also have to have passion for what you're doing. I love this industry. I'm tired of we have to buy paper bags in Los Angeles now. It's so stupid because we cut a tree down. It's like, really? Really? People don't realize that the trees are an industry like corn. When you cut, does anybody give you any grief when you buy corn? We're growing more trees, 20,000 more trees than we cut down one. Anyway, so I am tired of getting beat up, but I love this industry. You have to have passion for what you're doing. You have to have passion for your clients. You have to want to help them. You have to be able to think about what's their dynamic, what's their objective, and how can you help them, okay? And it has to make you want to achieve it. You can't sit around and wait for it to happen, because it won't. Okay, emotional intelligence, here's some little determiners. Are you self-aware, self-motivated, self-control, persistent, resilient? Because you're going to lose an account. I was calling on big automotive people doing Infinity car books when they came out, which I'll tell you 100 years ago. So the Infinity car launch, when they launched the car, they used to spend a lot of money on printing. So I was in the mix. It was like $1 million insert. It was huge. So I'm doing the work for a year and a half, and Nissan Motors gets involved purchasing. Calls me up and says, we think it's not fair that you get all the business. We're going to bid it out now, and you're going to get a third. The only time I ever cried, this place I worked was not where girls cry. I know. I was screwed. So, and I was probably a $2 million account, and it went away, So, but you know what? I had nothing, that's attrition. Nothing to do with it. Not my fault. But if I wasn't resilient and pissed off and persistent, that could make, I took a couple days to feel really sorry for myself, and then I was pissed. And I figured I'm going to find some more business because there's nothing I can do about it. This guy at Nissan, he actually really liked me, goes, I'm going to call you, give you the price, and I never called. So he'd help me with the pricing so I get my fair share. But you have to be able to bounce back from stuff like that. You have to. Because this sales thing is not easy. People are mean, people hang up on you. The people at the center drop the ball, they don't help you, you have to go hang your own sign, you got to get your own installer. Stuff happens, and you have to be able to bounce back and stay the course. And if you can't, then you shouldn't be a salesperson, because it's a rare breed that you have the chutzpah and the courage to carry on. And I've met a lot of good salespeople, and they're down for an hour and they're back up. And that's what you have to do. And interpersonal skills. How good are you at talking to different people? You need to know the receptionist, the guy in the warehouse, the gal in HR, the building contractor manager guy. That's a bunch of different personalities, and you have to have enough interpersonal skills to manage all those different kinds of personalities. Okay. Social skills are a salespeople's ability to move in and out of different situations effectively. And it doesn't mean we're always good at it. It doesn't mean we're perfect. It's something you can learn and you can evolve and you can watch people. But we've all seen people. You see these people and you think, man, that guy's smooth. In a good way, smooth. And he can handle the ebbs and flows of the personalities, and he can be funny and nice, and and I watch those people, I think, man, that guy's smooth. Because I'm like a little more goofy than that. It's like that accounting thing kills me. Okay, so I had this in the other one too. Harvard Business, 100% acceptance of responsibility for results. One of the side discussions we got into in the earlier session was, I have to do everything. I'm responsible for the whole project. And then one guy said, no, you're not. He said, yeah, you are. I don't want to hear about what you guys had yesterday, and I don't want to get in trouble. But we want to delegate to the appropriate people at the center where we live, but we want to sell full time. And if we can't do that, we have to do other things in between. And the key for you, Arlene, I'm telling you, as you started this thing, if you start doing all the production work, that everybody gets stuck with, then you don't have as much time to sell. So you get off your goal. So the key, and you don't want to be, but do you think they can read lips on the tape? But you want to be firm about what you say yes to, because one of the examples is I've worked with a lot of salespeople who don't live where they sell. They live in another city, and they aren't there to ask all the questions to. Is this the right color? Is this the right substrate? How's the proof look? The support staff just does it. So the more you help, the more you'll get dragged into it, and the less you'll sell. And there's a bunch of people that know what I'm talking about. Now, if you only have 4 people in your center, you got to do a little bit of everything. You're doing the paper towels, you're doing the front desk, and you're answering the phone, and you're selling. So you got to be really smart, and you should have come to my other session instead of Ryan's, about prioritizing your sales. I got you on that one. I'm really competitive, too, and I thought, God, there's more people in there. There's I can hear these people. Anyway, but you have to figure out how to stay on track with the sales thing, even though you're pulled in other directions. Okay, and we're going to clap really loud when I'm done. I'll even clap for myself. Okay. Yeah, and I will, right? I think I did last time, too. Woo! Anyway, okay. Above average willpower. So we have to have ambition, willpower. We have to want it. Because this is not easy. I don't care what you're selling. Here's one of the differences, though. A person in a car dealership has 4 days for you to buy the car from them. That's their sales cycle. If you don't buy in 4 days, you will not be a customer. We have lots of time. We have long-term relationships we want, and we want to nurture those. Hi. Yeah. You want to come on in. Get in here. Is that Billy? Oh. Okay, anyway, what we have to be able to do is hang in long-term and build. We're doing a long-term relationship sell. We're finding customers long-term that can buy from us over and over again, right? We're not a one-off with a car, which is fine. And the reason they want to come into your home to measure your carpet is because it doubles their close rate. Because you feel obligated when we'll come to your home and measure, because they sell more stuff when they come. So don't let them come to your house to measure the carpet, because they don't leave till you buy. Okay. So we have to have willpower, determination, goal-oriented, high level of customer empathy, meaning you understand what the customer needs from you, or you can find out or you ask. I really care about my customers. I was really good on deadlines. I was a pain in the ass because I wasn't going to let my client not have what they needed on time. And I don't care. I care if the people in the plant like me or not, but I'm not going to let my customer down because I know they're going to get in trouble and I'm going to get in trouble. So it's really important that we understand the customers, what they need from us. Don't take no personally. Ability to approach strangers. Okay, that's about that interpersonal thing. All right, so this is from your company, and this is just an account strategy plan. So you could print this out, and if you don't have it, just give me your card, and I'll give it to you. But I got this from Jody at corporate. So this will give you a chance, and you could even do this on your 10, or you could. How many prospects will it take you to work through to get to net 2? Do you know? Is it?
I'm taking a shot at
10 and you get 2? That's pretty good.
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, and you might get 1 and then you have to start over because it's not a good one. You don't know. You don't really know. But this is a good way to look at. And obviously, if you print this out, you can see it better. I did this on the last seminar too. Okay, 1 or 2. 1 or 2. And when you control it's pretty funny. Okay, which looks better? This looks better. But if you get this from your business center or me, you'll be able to read it because you can see it. But what it says is contact, title, email. But what it gives you a chance to do, print this out or do it online, I don't care, and look at each account. What do I have to do within this prospect to move the ball? What do they need from me? What do I know? The more I know, the better relationship you can have and the more important they feel. If you're the only one that sends a birthday card or the only one that mentions their kid finally graduated from college, you are the one that stands out. It's relationships, people. So this is a good way to have an account strategy for each one. It gives you a chance to make a plan for each customer, prospect. All right, now we have to laugh really loud next time I say something, okay? You guys are so fun. Okay. So, and it's good you do everything I say. I'm like, now we're going to do, woo! Oh, that was good. I like it. Okay. So this guy, do you know Malcolm Gladwell? He's a really interesting author, and he has really interesting ways of looking at stuff. He's actually really quirky, and he's really funny looking. But he writes books that talk about the reason most of the... Huh? Oh. So somebody say something to me? Most of the guys in in hockey, NHL, are all born in January and February because they're 6 months ahead. I think it's baseball, actually. 6 months ahead of all the other boys. So they're older when they start playing baseball, so they already have an advantage. But he looks at really weird statistics on how people get where they get, and some of it's your own choice and some of it's just where you live and stuff. But so perhaps the most common and most important forms of rapid cognition are the judgments we make and the impressions we form of other people. So this is about, how do you want to be perceived? What do people see when you call or walk in an office? Are you dressed appropriately? Are you focused on them? Are you listening? Are you making eye contact? Are you shaking hands? Are you handing your card out? Does everybody have a business card with them today? Okay, you better not. You better. Sales 101, baby. Matthew. No, I don't want it. I mean, you can give it to me if you want because I'll put you on my newsletter. But, you meet with these salespeople. Oh, I didn't bring any cards. Are you kidding me? Oh, I'll take your card. You bring your card up here, baby. I'll come back there and get it. But I have a newsletter. I'll send it to you. But what are we putting out there that people make assessments of you in about 5 seconds? And when you walk in, are you nice and respectful to the person up front? Are you asking for information? Are you snotty? You got to be what you want people to see, because it's like that and it's over. If it's not good, it's over. Okay? All right. Let's talk about habits. What kind of habits do you have? A habit is defined as an automatic, look, I can look at my cat, Joey, and I can see the time. Okay, I already talked about, I'm going to work my cat in every session. I already worked her in before, where I waste time. My husband's so cute. I make him send me a picture of proof of life that she's alive. So he tries to get her to sit on the newspaper, and cats don't do very well, but sometimes he can get her to make sure that he hasn't, been stupid, and so he always sends me a picture. I know, pretty stupid. But it works for me. I get to see her. A habit is defined as an automatic or conditioned response to stimuli. So what do you do over and over again that's really good? And what do you do over and over again that isn't? And this is where you have to be able to, in your own brain, change habits. Are you one of those people that says, I don't have time to go to the gym, and you don't? Or you're one of the people that goes every day on your way to the office because you know you won't go after work? What are your habits? And those define how successful you can be, because we rely on our habits to get us through the day and to get us to the next place. Habits are really important. This guy is the guy that coached the hockey team for Olympics.
Minnesota.
He's Minnesota?
Yeah, he's from Minnesota.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So he was the Olympic coach for the 1980 thing, and there's a movie on him with Kurt Russell. It's a really good movie. But the point of it is, aside from that, he said on the interview at the end of the movie that he pushed these were amateur athletes at the time. He pushed them beyond their skill level. His theory was we weren't trained as well as the Russians. That's when USSR was still there, and so we were not doing well in the third period because we weren't strong enough. So he had them do those little slide back and forth. I don't know what you call them. Killers, back and forth for a long, long time, and they hated it. But they were amateurs. And he said, these guys gave me everything they had, not knowing the outcome. And this is what I think sales is. We have to put everything out there. We don't know the outcome. We are not standing in a grocery store waiting for people to come by with a cart full of carrots. We're not at Nordstrom waiting for a gal to come in and buy shoes. We're out there finding, building, developing, and discovering who's going to buy from us. And it's so important. I mean, I really love this industry. I love sales. How are we going to get somebody to buy from us over and over again? And that's what we're trying to figure out. And it requires a lot of personal skill, industry skill, technical skill. You have to be consistent. You have to not quit, all that stuff. So I think this is just a great example of doing everything you can, and you don't know if you're going to win or not. And it's the same thing with baseball players. If they get hit 1 out of 3 times, they're happy. So if you could do 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10, what if half the phone calls you made, you got an appointment? That'd be great. But you got to make the calls, right? Okay, so let's talk about what we can control. How long does this class go? 1:45? Thank you. See, he answered first. He wins. Whatever. Okay, so, and this is important in my world because that little girl sitting behind me singing the whole time, and I even had noise-canceling headphones on. They weren't working. I'm like, oh my God. So she said, do you want a beverage? I'm like, oh, give me some wine. That will help. I could control that, the adult beverage part. I should have given her some. Anyway, okay, no. What can we control? And is anybody in here from Southern California? I had that other guy from San Diego. How bad is the traffic? Oh, it's horrible, yeah. So what you have to do is you cannot, I mean, if you don't want to live there, that's fine, but there's a lot of business and a lot of people, and that's where I live. You can't, I cannot control the traffic. I want to. I can't. I can leave really early, which is what I do. I can't control the traffic, so I'm not in control of that. And as a salesperson, we have to focus our energy on what we can control because we get in the weeds. You know, I try to control everything, and you have to really focus on what you can control and manage. We can't control other people's behavior. We can't control our clients. We can't control the other people at the center who don't help you as much as you want. You can't control your owner. Really, God knows you can't control your spouse, right? As much as we try, right? I keep trying, it doesn't work. I can't control the cat. I can control how early I leave for an appointment. I can control what I wear. I can control how prepared I am, how much prep I've done on the prospect. I can control my attitude. I've met really good salespeople who never act like they're in a bad mood, but you know they are, who always come to me and the environment as positive as they can be. I have control over how much I beat myself up, how negative I am, how supportive I am of my own journey and BS. I have control over who I surround myself with. And I remember my mom, here's another mom story. You know, I drove up in my first Mercedes. She goes, what'd you get a white one for? I'm like, that's my mom. It's like, really? That's her. So, you know, I stopped showing her the cars when I got the new one, you know, because, you know, that was the... I'm like, really? So, you know, you can decide, except for the mom, who you want to be around. Because that's not helpful. Surround yourself with people that are going to help you on your journey and get you from A to B down the field. And we have negative people all around us, and you don't have to, unless it's, you know, my mom, you don't have to be around them too much. So, you have control over that. We don't have control over the economy. The stock market took a big dump yesterday. I'm sure we all lost some money. I don't have control over the weather, the humidity, my hormones, raging hormones that make me warm everywhere I go. So, you know, we have to really, really focus on what can I do to be successful and focus on the right things. And I know this, to me, it could sound, of course it's not because I have it on my slide thing, stupid, but we can really waste a lot of time focused on the wrong things that we cannot change. You can decide who to call on. You can decide how far to drive. You can decide what your verticals are, what your presentation skills are, which is the next class. Okay. Anthony Robbins, whatever, this is so true, I think. We know what to do, we just don't do it. So it's not, and it's great, maybe you're getting a refresher or you're actually some stuff you didn't know. But we are not doing rocket science. We're not sending that new astronaut show is really interesting about going to the moon and stuff. We're not heart surgeons here, people. So nobody's going to die because we don't get a sign done on time. But you're not going to win the customer. They're not going to give you more work. So we've got to really figure out to do what we think we're supposed to do. And if you don't know, ask somebody that really does know what to do. And this guy is interesting. This guy wrote a book about how you become a millionaire. And what it does is it breaks down a goal into a plan and little increments. So his theory is, not theory, it's fact. If you save $100 a month, which is probably how much you spend on Starbucks, if you spend $4 a day at Starbucks, that's $100. I'm just saying. Okay. So, and you start at 20, which for most of us, it's like, woo, missed that one, yeah. But maybe since we're all working till we're 90 now, maybe we go from 40 to 90. And you save the money and put it in the stock market, which over time grows every year, really, over time. You would have $1.2 million when you retired. So it's about, what do I want to do? And now you also have to stick to $100 a month, even if you want a new car or a new purse or something. You have to stick to $100. You have to put it in the stock market with a trusted advisor and leave it there. And you'll end up with $1.2 million. So it's not rocket science, but it's difficult to stay on the game and stay focused. But I like how this breaks it down into little steps, actionable. That's $25 a week for the next 40 years. So for some of us it's too late, but okay, what's keeping you from it? What goals, what motivates you? Do you have, I had a guy, I said this last time, who wanted to leave at 3 and coach his kids' soccer. And he was a successful sales rep. I said, what am I going to tell you? No. Well, because I'm an interim sales manager anyway, but what am I going to tell you? No. You can do it. If you don't think you have to sell between 3 and 6, that's fine. But I don't want you to hear you complaining that you didn't meet your goal because you're not putting enough hours in. And the younger generation seems to think that you don't ever work weekends or nights. I spend a lot of time on my business on the weekends on stuff that I don't want to use when I can make money like this. Paperwork, building this thing, travel, all that stuff. I don't do that in prime time. So you've got to decide how much, and you're investing your weekend here, which is fabulous. What else can you do on off hours so you can have more time to sell? So what else keeps you back? Are you going to blame it on the economy? Economy's come back a lot. I'm over that. A bunch of industries got smashed, and we had a big switch in the market there. Outside expectations. Are you the one that has to go to the grocery store on the way home and make dinner and have it on the table at 5 so you have to stop at 4? I don't know. But you've got to decide what's going to keep you from it and what's going to help you get around that. Because we all have stuff. And then why do we fail? We talk ourselves, I'm not going to do that well at it. The other 2 reps before me didn't make it, I won't make it. And you didn't say that because you're awesome. But why didn't those reps make it?
Because they didn't work at it.
That's exactly right. And you can say it's the owner and all that other stuff and pricing and we're not competitive and, blah, 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 blah. The only thing I will say is if you've got to deliver on time, you have to talk your owners into delivering on time. Because there's a lot of people in town that can and will. So if that's not working at your center, then send them to me. Because that's really important these days. If you got a show or a trade show or your ice cream new flavors coming out, you got to have the stuff there on time. Okay. You procrastinate. Meaning you're going to make sales calls and then Friday comes and you haven't made any. And you got to do it Monday and then a week goes by. So we're 8 months done. August is done. I don't care what you say to me. We got 3 months. December, everybody uses it as an excuse not to prospect. So what are you going to do in the next 100 days? I said in the other seminar, you've already had a chance to have 125 lunch meetings and 125 bagel drop-off donut things this year. And you spend your time in the center doing production and you're not out in front of the peeps. Can we get a customer without making a sales call and getting a meeting? How many of you have customers you get over the phone that you never meet? So, yeah? Very many? So you can be an inside sales rep, really? I mean, is that really what you're doing? Well, and see, that's perfect because if you have opportunities coming at you, you can learn a lot and then you can go on the road. But most of the people in this room have to go make a call and have to meet with someone to get a sizable project. So you have to figure out, how am I going to call and make an appointment and get in front of somebody? So you've got to decide how do you do that? You have to do it. You have to not be the guy on the treadmill that's looking at it. You got to pick up the phone. And feeling overwhelmed means we haven't broken it down into little steps enough. I'm going to sell 499,000. That's really overwhelming, Arlene, to say it like that without thinking, okay, that's 50,000 a month. Well, that's actually 40,000 a month times 12. Right on, girlfriend. That's 40,000 a month, and that's probably 20 customers. But you could do that because you get 20 people to buy 5,000 from you a month. That's 40 grand. So when you break it into that, it doesn't feel so overwhelming as I'm going to be a gold thing, huh? I did. Well, yeah. Okay, fine. Whatever. There's always somebody checking my math. Okay, so if it's 40,000 a month, she needs 80 customers times 5. Okay. Anybody in the room? We're trying to sell 40,000 a month. If the customer is buying 5,000 from you, how many customers is it?
It's 480 at
8. 8 times 5.
40, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, 8. If you want, so here I'm going to say it to you one more time because I obviously didn't say it well the first time. If you're going to do 40,000 a month, that's 8 customers times 5,000 a month. Can you get 8 customers to buy $5,000 a month from you? And then if the answer is maybe, the other answer would be 16 customers buying 2,500. Bingo! Booyah! I got it. Right? Is that right? So there. See, so maybe you'd have half and half. So if to really confuse you, you'd have 12 half and half. Okay, no, I'm done. I'm gonna, and I got one more session to do. Oh, I think okay, so let's talk about what motivates you. And maybe you don't know. I know what motivates me. Do you know what motivates you? Do you know what gets you up in the morning to kick it and have some fun? Because if you don't know that, how are you going to motivate yourself? And no one else, no matter what you say, Ryan or anybody else, nobody can, if he said this, I'm going to go talk to him, can motivate you but you. I can help you, I can give you tools, I can move you down the path, I can cheerlead you and say, way to go, I can kick you in the butt, all that stuff. But you have to be motivated in here to do it. Do you like recognition? Some people don't. I did the sales contest, I was a sales manager, and I did this contest where if you had a new customer, I don't know, somebody got $500, and the guy said, I don't want the money. One of the salesmen. Really? It was, first of all, I felt like a complete loser. I didn't think anybody would actually not want the money. And it was such a downer meeting because it just ended like that. And I'm like, I'm not doing that again. I was only going to say if I'm going to ask first because God, I don't want your money. All righty then. So he did not want the recognition, obviously. So, do you want to feel good about yourself? What gets you to the next place? We have to be insightful and understand that because this is what's going to help us get it done. Thank you for that. So do you have it? Do you know? Do you want a kitchen? Put a picture of a kitchen. You want a new car? You want money? Put dollar signs. I want you to put a sign in front of your desk that says 2,500 times 16. Okay? And then you can see it every day and say, that Leslie girl's in my brain. And then you can we can visualize making stuff happen. Because you got to do it. You're going to do it. I know you are. I got a good feeling about you, girlfriend. How do we find it? I don't know. Fear, money, be proud of yourself, your future, take care of your family. I don't know very many people in sales who are doing it just to earn money. It's too hard. You have to like it enough. You don't have to always love it because some days suck. But you have to like it and get fired up to the next day. When somebody hangs up on you and says, what are you calling me again for? I already told you now. We work with Chris. Your company is bad. He's a jerk, and I don't want to work with you. There's always one of those in there. So you'll get that kind of pushback, and it's hard. Do you have your own plan? What is your business plan for yourself? What does your future look like? What does it look like? She's got a plan for 2016 because I've just done all the work for her. But what do I do for that? I don't get paid enough for that. What does your 2016 look like? What does the next year look like? We're all young enough for a 5-year plan. What's a 5-year plan? How much money do you want to make? How successful? How many employees? How many customers do you want to have in 5 years? Do that times 5. So you could morph it. The next year you could do bigger clients. Here you got your girlfriend. Because when I first started, I just took anybody because I was just like, pfft. And then I thought, this guy's really a pain and he complains all the time. I don't want him. So I weeded him out and got the big car account. So you can change who your customers are when you can afford to do it. But in the beginning, I'm like, I don't care. I'll take anything. You have to focus on it every day. It is the car, the accounts, the college, the vacation, the purse. I've talked about the purse a couple times because, All right, so what is it going to take for you? You have to decide. You have to know, figure it out, and then walk it, march it. March it, march it. All right. So here's my little friend, and I only use him because you're in here, you've been through classes, and, I'm sure, Ryan's or whatever. And you have to do it, though. You have to take the information and move. Take forward action. Make a call. Create a relationship. Find a customer. Find somebody that wants to buy from you. And find a lot of them. You think about all this Apple thing. Apple is so successful because people want to buy it. And people want to buy Microsoft, and people want to buy McDonald's. And I want a Minion. I never got a Minion toy. I didn't win anything in that Minion contest. I just went to McDonald's for the Minion thing. I didn't win anything. I love those little Minions. Okay, you can make it happen. But it's all about getting on the phone to make it happen, figuring out what your prospecting is, finding your 16 clients, finding 2, finding 10. All right. I'm done with you people. Go forth and sell. All right, you guys good? Thanks. Thanks. Yay. Right on. Woo. All right.